Welcome back to SportsCentral. I'm Nick Detter, your host, here with Clark Schoonover and Austin Zellers. Today, first we're going to talk about what we think of the NFL Conference Championship games and the upcoming Super Bowl matchup between the Falcons and the Patriots. We're also going to talk about how college basketball had a pretty crazy night with 3 of the top 4 teams going down, and then we'll finish it up on our thoughts of the Wichita State Shockers up and down basketball season this year, and if dominating the Missouri Valley and not doing very well in the non-conference qualifies you to go to the NCAA tournament. Okay, boys, let's start with the Super Bowl predictions. Obviously, both the Falcons and the Patriots kind of ran away with their games, which I would say was surprising for most people on both of them. I mean, I'd say the Steelers have been playing pretty well, and the Packers, have won like 7 or 8 games in a row going into the Falcons game, and both those teams just kind of got destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the Steelers-Patriots game, I think the number one thing you have to bring up is Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, he didn't play in a lot of that game, and I think that really hurt the Steelers. Going back to the week before against the Chiefs, Le'Veon was most of their offense. I think if the same scenario would have happened in Kansas City, obviously I'm a little partial, but if the same scenario happens in Kansas City, the Chiefs come out of that game, and they're playing the Patriots. I just think that Le'Veon plays a huge role in that Steeler offense, not having him hurt a lot in that game, and it really showed.
Another thing you got to look at, though, is how Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown played. I mean, those are 2 games back-to-back where those guys haven't put up very great numbers. And, I mean, that's a lot of what came down to it in that loss. So.
Yeah, also, I mean, it's the Patriots, man.
Yeah.
Patriots.
So you got to play better than that to beat the
Does it
Patriots.
say more about the Steelers' offense and its struggles, or how good the Patriots' defense probably really is?
I think that game with that scoreline, I think it really shows a lot more of just the Steelers didn't perform as well.
Yeah,
I think
I
on a
agree.
normal day that game was a lot tight. I think the Patriots still come out of that, and I mean that leads into the Super Bowl. I really think the Patriots still have an edge, but I do think that game should have been a lot tighter, and I think the Steelers underperformed.
We're kind of looking at the other side of things. How about the Falcons? I mean, they just
They're firing on all
destroyed the
cylinders.
Packers. I mean, the Packers had went into Dallas and won, and then it looked like the Packers were firing all cylinders going in that game. And then, I mean, they got destroyed. Like, that game was never close.
No, and I know they had a couple turnovers in the red zone. I know they had a couple things that didn't go their way, but even if those things do go their way, they still lose by a couple scores.
Yeah,
so.
Matt Ryan, I mean, if he has 5 touchdowns, they're going to win that game,
Yeah.
granted whatever
No.
the Packers do on offense.
And I mean, the Atlanta offenses look like that all season. They've been
Yeah.
firing hot. I mean, obviously Matt
So,
Ryan's. I mean, he's in huge talk for the MVP.
They were the highest scoring team in the regular season. And
Yeah,
so,
they were.
Yeah, I think coming to the Super Bowl, I think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think obviously Tom Brady, if you give him enough time, he's going to be Tom. And the Patriots, led by Belichick, I mean, there's not much you can
It's tough to
say.
beat.
I think they still have to be the favorites. I think on the other side, I think the Atlanta offense, if it performs, they could turn into a shootout. But I think it's going to be high scoring, and I think it's going to be who can score the most points, honestly.
I'm going to pick the Falcons. I mean, I think they've really, the way their offense is played against 2 pretty good defenses in the Packers and the Seahawks. I mean, they dominated the Seahawks defense too. And I think also if you look at the pass rush has been pretty surprising in both the game against the Packers and the Seahawks. I mean, they got after Russell Wilson over and over again, and they got after Aaron Rodgers a lot too. And like you said, if you give Brady time, that's when he's really dangerous. But if they can apply pressure to Tom Brady, I think they can. I don't know. I just the way the Falcons have been playing.
I completely agree. You got to put the pressure on Tom Brady to beat him in those situations.
And then they have in Babineau and Vic Beasley. They have 2 pass rushers that I think can get after Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good. I mean, if there was any team playing right now, I think it'd be the Patriots. I think it's the way the Falcons are playing right now.
Well, boys, I like your points, but you can't pick against Tom in the Super Bowl. I think the dude's going to come out. He's going to be the Tom we always see. I think he's going to come away with a Super Bowl trophy. Would that be number 5 for him?
4,
5,
because he's lost 2 to
That
both the
he'll get
Giants.
that, and he'll get himself another MVP.
So this is
award.
what is this his 6th Super Bowl appearance?
Mhm.
That's.
It's incredible.
I think either way we agree it'll be a good
It'll
game.
be a
It's a
good
good
one.
matchup,
It'll be a
and
good
an
one.
exciting game.
A lot
I
of
think a
fun.
lot of Now we're gonna move into college basketball. A lot of crazy things happened last night. First, KU went to West Virginia and lost for the 4th consecutive year, which is not a good feeling as a Jayhawk fan. In fact, they didn't even storm the court last night, which shows that the
It's
folks
just
in Morgantown
become-
just
it's
business,
become normal.
which is not some first time KU's ever lost 4 straight times to a Big 12 opponent on the road.
You know, Denner, before we get into these other games, I know you're about to bring up, I just want to bring something up. I think the Hawks, I'm not worried, I'm not concerned. I think they needed a loss, and I think this is a fine one to lose. They're going to have a big test coming up at Kentucky.
Yeah.
They got big games against Baylor. They play Iowa State again. Then they go to at Bramlage. They're going to have a lot of big tests coming up, and I really think they're not gonna have one loss the entire
Yeah.
season. They're gonna lose some games, even when they've won national championship. They had 3 losses in the regular season. It happens. I mean, they got to lose games. You got to build from there. You got to figure out what you did wrong, and you got to make improvements. I really think that Bill and the guys they're gonna come back from this, and it'll be completely fine.
And a loss can kind of refocus you, kind
Exactly,
of reorient you. I
exactly.
mean, you get used to winning too much. And no one means to lose
No,
their
I mean,
games, but it just happens when you
Yeah.
win 18 games.
The Hawks
in a row.
won exactly. They
Yeah.
won 18 in a row. That can't continue. You got to lose one. You got to refocus. You got to get back at it.
So you mentioned Kentucky, and they lost to Tennessee last night. A really surprising game. Tennessee was like 10-9 or something going into the game, and I mean it was a close game, but I mean definitely not the result. So either KU or Kentucky is going to head into next week with a two-game losing streak.
That's another thing is both those teams coming off losses. They're going to be fired.
Oh,
up.
yeah.
They're both
No,
gonna-
yeah,
they
it's
want to
gonna
make a
absolutely-
statement, and I
Especially
mean,
leading into big time play.
exactly. I mean, at Rupp, I think it's going to be a heck of a game between, two great backcourts. I mean, De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk for Kentucky. Obviously, Devontae, Josh, and Frank for the Hawks. I think it's going to be a great game.
And then just to mention the other team that kind of lost last night was Villanova, who's been number 1 in the country. And I think in a way that kind of speaks more to Marquette, because Marquette beat Creighton over this weekend. I think Marquette, they could be a team in your tournament bracket that you're looking for maybe some upsets or something. I mean, I think they beat 2 pretty good teams in a row. But at the same time, maybe Villanova's is not as good as people thought they were.
I think Villanova's good, and I really do think all 3 of those games were kind of just a little, and obviously they're a little bit different skill levels, different scenarios, but I think all of them have the same thing in just the middle of the season,
Yeah.
top teams.
It's gonna happen.
They're gonna lose games. No
It's gonna
team
happen.
is gonna go undefeated. I mean, it's not UConn in the women's basketball.
Mhm.
No one
Absolutely.
nobody wins every game and wins national championships.
So do you think that's more of an indication of parity in college bat? Like there's more parity than normal this year? Or do you think it was kind of just a fluky night where a couple teams lost all at once?
I mean, I think there's a lot of competitive teams in college basketball this year, so I think that proves it. I mean, anybody can win on any given night, which makes March even better.
I agree.
But, I mean, there's obviously a little bit of a fluke. I mean, for that to truly happen, something has to go right. So.
Kind of moving, we're staying college basketball, but look at not the upper levels as much, but Wichita State, they've kind of had an interesting year. I mean, they had some opportunities in the non-conference to beat Louisville and Michigan State and the Bahamas, and they didn't do it. They also played Oklahoma State, and they lost in, who's a decent team. And now they're going to the Valley, and they have that loss to Illinois State, but they've just blown out their last couple opponents by I think won by 35 or something against Southern Illinois, and then beat Indiana State by 35 or 40. And I mean, it's just how much value do you think the committee looks at a team going through? I mean, if especially if they beat Illinois State and then end up losing in the Missouri Valley championship game, if they just demolish the rest of their Missouri Valley opponents, how do you think the committee looks at that?
Well, I mean, first off, for the Shockers, they're still a respectable team. They're still a team that could do damage in the tournament. I mean, they have talent. But I think that for them, looking forward, their number 1 goal has to be to win the Missouri Valley Conference Championship. I mean, because if they don't win that tournament, then it gets risky. I mean, it's the safest way to play it. Then there's no worries. They get in. And now if they don't, I still believe at this point of the year, if they don't lose another Missouri Valley Conference game, I think they will sneak in, maybe an on-the-bubble team, maybe have to go into one of those play-in games for the 11th seed. But if they don't lose again, then I do think they will still get in. If they somehow find a way to lose they still play Illinois State.
Yeah, they play Illinois State at home.
If
That's a huge.
That is a big game. Now, if they lose that one, I don't think the committee will take them very seriously.
I mean, I don't know how you can. I mean, they haven't capitalized on their opportunities to prepare for the tournament playing good teams. I mean, if you go through the Missouri Valley and have an okay season, what have you really done to prove that you deserve a high seed?
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, they did
You're
beat
right.
Oklahoma, which, I mean, you got to give them that. I mean, they're a decent Big 12 team. They gave the Hawks a great game down in Norman. So I mean, you can't forget about OU. That you can't take that away from them. They beat them pretty handily. So I think you have to give them credit on that one. But I don't know if one win determines a whole season. So.
And I do really think there's something to be said. It's not like they're squeaking by these other Missouri Valley.
Yeah, no,
they're
they're
blowing them off the court, and I think there is something to be said for that. Is they look. I mean, I think Illinois State's a somewhat legitimate team.
No, I agree.
I think that. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if the Valley can maybe get 2 straight teams in the tournament for 2 years in a row. I mean, and both those teams had some success. Obviously, Wichita State won their playing game and then beat Arizona, and then UNI beat Tech. I mean, I think the thing with the Valley is there's some really, really bad teams in the Valley, but I think they are capable, and they've shown this the last couple of years, of maybe producing one other team that. Other than Wichita State, that's at least a decent team. So I agree with you that if they went out and then lose like to Illinois State in the championship game in Missouri Valley, they'll probably sneak in just because of the way that they've been playing. Okay, now we're going to turn to Evan Byers and his opinion on Russell Westbrook's All-Star Game starter stub.
Hi, I'm Evan Byers, host of the 1 Minute Drill, and today I'm going to be talking about how Russell Westbrook got snubbed. So, obviously, Russell is averaging 30.8 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 10.6 rebounds and 10.4 assists. Sorry. That is incredible. First player since Oscar Robin to be averaging a triple-double. That is just phenomenal. And then let's look at one of the starters, Stephen Curry. 24 points per game, 6.2 assists, and 4.3 rebounds. Okay, that is substantially worse than Russell Westbrook, yet Steph gets to start. So now if we look at all the guards starting, we got Steph Curry, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and DeMar DeRozan. Now, I would say that Russell Westbrook is probably better than all of them except for maybe Kyrie and James. At least he deserves that starting spot. So, I think that it is just ridiculous, and I think that fan vote is unbelievable. Okay, if you look at the NHL, it's 100% fan vote. A guy that wasn't even in the league last year, he was in the minors, worked his way up and was a starter. He was actually the captain. He was just some enforcer for the Coyotes. Fan vote is ridiculous.
Welcome back. Z has some pretty strong opinions on what Byers just said, so I'm going to turn it over to my man Austin Zellers.
All right, well, the first thing that Byers mentioned that I didn't really appreciate was the fact that he mentioned all 4 of the guards starting in the All-Star game, which is completely irrelevant, seeing as how 2 are from the East and 2 are from the West.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying that he's better than nearly all.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, but that means nothing. Also, he mentioned that Kyrie Irving was better than
I do
Russell
believe that.
Westbrook,
I do believe that.
which I don't even understand.
Oh,
how you
okay.
think
I
that.
said that I think that. I said I was talking about starting spots to start out with,
yeah, okay,
and I think that
makes
Kyrie
sense.
deserves a starting spot, as does Russell Westbrook.
Okay, well, but what you said was Kyrie is better than Russell Westbrook, and
I
first
didn't.
of all,
I didn't. There's video evidence. These viewers just saw it.
That's great. Well, so now that's just dumb. For even if
Can you give me a better argument? Can you start?
can I give you a better argument? Russell Westbrook is the best point guard in the game. Look at the stats. Look at how he's playing. He's running a team. Kyrie, yeah, maybe he's a better ball handler. Great, he can pass to LeBron James. LeBron James is the team. How is Kyrie's not even the best player on his team, let alone in the league? Come on, man. Come on. Come up with something. That or you know, I don't want to talk anymore.
I will say, to play devil's advocate on his thing about the fan vote, is it is the All-Star game. I mean, you know, it's not really a big deal to many of these guys. And even Russell Westbrook said is he's like, I'm here playing for championships, not for starting in the All-Star game.
And I do understand that, but if they are going to have an All-Star game, it should truly be the All-Stars.
But the thing is that the
Steph
reason
Curry
they have
does
an
not
All-Star
deserve
game
a
is
starting
to make
spot.
money. And the one way you get fans interested in the game is by having
Who the fan
vote.
vote, who they want in the game.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's not the best way, but they're not voting on All-Pro NBA or anything. And I think we'll see when we get to the end of the season when the writers and the coaches and the players, whoever votes on All-Pro, Russell Westbrook will be an All-Pro NBA player. Might even be the MVP of the league. So I think people got maybe a little bit worked up about who's starting the All-Star game, and really it's more just a fun thing, kind of showcase the players, break up the season a little bit. You get fun events like the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest, and I just
Aaron Gordon's gonna win.
Thank you for
The
your
dunk
opinion.
contest.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our show. We'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you for watching Sports Central.